Hello, I am Jayanto Chatterjee from IIT Kanpur. We are interacting on this exciting new topic of services management in the contemporary world and the issues arising out of the interaction between today's technology and today's business imperatives. In the last session, we ended with this particular diagram, and this is where we will start today. This is a very good, rich diagram. It shows more or less the entire new service development cycle. We discussed in the last session the Ansoff matrix and how new service can be generated in response to the need of new customers or existing customers, or existing service can be taken to new customers. But initially, therefore, when a need is felt, an opportunity is recognized, the opportunity is evaluated, we start the process which we call the business analysis phase. Then we go to the design phase, the development phase, where service is designed and tested, prototype runs are made. This is where the blueprint is of immense help, where we can draw ideas from existing services and how the flow can be mapped in existing services. Then from that blueprint, by identifying the service blocks and the touch points and the fail points and the bottleneck points and the wait points, or the waiting stages, we can then design subsystems, test those subsystems, and then in many cases, because service is intangible, we need to create some sampling, test runs, experience sharing, etc., as a part of the marketing process, and then all the training of people, at which stage we often involve customers. We also involve the customers when the different process modules are developed and tested. And then we do some pilot runs, some test marketing, and launch the service in full scale, do some post-launch review, and then again come to the development stage. So this is a cycle that continues in a good dynamic service company. And today we recognize that we have a role for direct involvement of the consumer at every stage, at the analysis stage, design stage, particularly in these two stages, and of course at the review stage, post-launch review stage, where we can go back to the drawing board and start again with idea generation. So again we look at the triangle constituted by service employees, service consumers, and service organizations. And we will have internal marketing, external marketing, internal marketing of communication between the organization and all its employees so that everybody is on the same page, intensive communication between service employees and service consumers without any barrier, so that the service creators, the service employees, get a direct feedback from the customers about what is good and what is bad. And the system, that flow of knowledge around these three corners, must be enabled by good information and communication technology so that it is real time. In case of low contact system, often the creation of a new service is very similar to creation of a new manufacturing line. And in these kind of services, and even in some cases some high contact services, we can very well use for improving the service various kinds of techniques like line balancing and so on. We will discuss that at a subsequent session. But I just wanted to highlight that it is quite often a low contact service can be created almost like creating a new manufacturing line. But mostly the new service creation takes the form of a project. So it can be a long duration, low volume, one of a kind. So think about a product service bundle, the creation of which takes this particular, follows this particular line. Yes, that's right. A movie, for example, or a theater production, or an entertainment happening. So these service instances are usually of this project type. So a movie is one of a kind, and it's a low volume, long duration. There are many activities, and there are critical and subcritical activities. You can use project management techniques in this kind of new service creation. Then of course there are batch type of new services, like a new type of spa. So where actually it is a short duration, volume is still low because it is still a lot of people to people type of service, but each service instance is quite customized. There are different sequences of activities for each individual customer, and in these cases of course there is lot of scheduling involved. So a dentist service is now recreated, by the way, as a dental spa. If you can search on the internet, and you will find many interesting instances of what they call a dental spa. So going to the dentist is no longer a fearful experience, but they are trying to recreate that same service as a pleasurable service that you can look forward to, the dental spa. It will be a new service of the batch type, job shop, short duration, low volume, customization, scheduling is very important, and there are different sequences for different customers. And then there can be line type, flow shop, short duration, high volume, continuous processing, standard product, and again there can be many instances. Your short assignment for today is to give me some example of a new service, or it could be an existing service which you can enhance, which follows this flow shop or line principle. I can give you a hint, like for example a pathology lab where people are coming in, giving their blood for testing and exiting. There is a menu of standard blood tests from which they can select. So there is a menu of standardized services, and it is people are coming in and going out. It's a flow shop, and techniques like line balancing can be used here. But I would like you as your assignment to identify and tell me at least 2 such service instances that you see around you. And this is the critical issue in such services, which can give you some hint of looking for ideas for new services. Now, process selection for service is based on time here. It can be access time, queue time, action time, and usually the time flow follows a logical sequence. There can be some flexibility. So if you apply these principles to the restaurant blueprint, these issues will become quite clear. Now, once you have identified that whether it is your new service that you are trying to configure, whether it is like a movie making type of service, or like a dental spa type of service, or a pathology lab type of service, then you can look at another dimension, or rather two dimensions. One is degree of complexity and another is degree of divergence. And you can create new services by looking at a chart like this. So, we have again used this restaurant for simplicity because we are all familiar with such a service. And you can see here that right from the beginning where we take reservation, right. So, we can have a restaurant which has a reservation system. Obviously, a fine dining restaurant where tables are given to customers not on the basis of frequency, but on the basis of maximizing the revenue from a particular session, which means that we want the customer to spend more time, order more food, more drinks, enjoy themselves, and in the process also create more value from the restaurant. But that sort of service is not the service which you would offer at an idli dosa restaurant or a hamburger or paratha restaurant. There we want flow, we want more customers per seat, per hour. So, we want to maximize the turnaround time. We do not want people to sit at a table for a long time without consumption. Obviously, in such restaurants there will be no reservation. So, you see how we look at the different elements and we can change and match, mix and match and create different kinds of services. So, for example, can we have a restaurant? Whenever we think of a restaurant, we think of food and beverage, eating and drinking. Can we have a restaurant where no food is served? There are no tables and chairs? Yes, of course. There are restaurants which are takeaway services only. But can there be a restaurant which has the shape and size of a restaurant, but it does not deal with food and beverage? So, it is a bar, but it does not serve drinks. Is that feasible? So, if we look here like beverages, I mean we can on one hand add choices on the right hand side or reduce the number of choices. This is going from complexity to simplicity and creating different value proposition. But in many cases we can even eliminate. So, for example, this beverage part and food part, we can eliminate and create a restaurant like service, very popular in Japan or in other highly polluted cities. They are called oxygen bars. So, people go in there to breathe for a while good high quality air. Unfortunately, this may become a reality even in our country very soon. But it is an example of a service which is socially needed and demanded, gainfully provided and conceived as an innovation by looking at this simplicity complexity chart. So, this is a simple chart: add, delete, mix and match, create different service alternatives. And there will be always production line components in the service, or the whole service may be very much like a line, as we discussed a little while back, which is a flow shop, and therefore all the things that we normally do in creating a new production line will need to be done in such a service. In this kind of service, we will like to create, or rather induct, more technology rather than people. We have to be careful that we do not impair empathy. I discussed in a previous session the example of banks who had originally moved all the tellers out and installed ATM machines, but then brought back relationship executives because there was a customer dissonance, because a significant percentage of senior citizens may like to interact with persons. So, branches dominated by such customer profile brought back their relationship executives. So, do not substitute people with technology if you are not sure about this part. But in general, because of the nature of the production line service, so banks are often considered in this configuration. People come in to put in money or take out money. So, both putting in and take out money you try to automate, try to adopt a production line approach, and leave the bank executives for more value generating activities like giving loans or collecting loans or financing of business activities and so on. So, in most services these days, we would like to involve the customer more and more, create standard blocks, create self-service, and reserve the human machine composite system, expert system and expert personnel only for higher value adding activities. Adopting these principles, great services, new services have been created. An excellent example is Arvind Eye Care in India, world famous now, spread to many countries. The model has been replicated and emulated in number of countries. Arvind Eye Care themselves have spread their wings and gone to many countries. Originally started as a dream project by one individual, Dr. V, and his dream was to provide cataract operation and simple eye care to many people at an affordable price. He started in South India, where by looking at the process of cataract operation, he understood that the most critical part and the most high value part of the service operation is where the doctor lifts the original lens out of the eye and puts in an artificial lens. Everything else, giving eye drops, keeping the patient under observation for some time before the process starts, giving the eye drop, again observing the patient, all the other necessary hygienic treatments, and post operation all the processes. So, Arvind Eye Care adopted industrial engineering principles, to some extent production line principles, and understood that the most high value machine has to be fed through multiple lines, and non value adding steps should be removed, And they did many of those very innovatively. I am not discussing all of those. I would request you to look on the web and search, and you will find great presentations on YouTube and about this Aravind Eye Care. But in creating a new service, by involving the customer and adopting process flow manufacturing line design techniques where it is applicable, reserving human empathy and the human touch for the most critical portions, one can create very profitable but very valuable for the society, high quality new services. So for example, Aravind Eye Care has recently engaged over the last decade or so this very complex area of diabetic retinopathy, the macular degeneration of diabetic patients in their eyes and the treatments they need. And you can see here the result of their 2000 to 2010, and you can see the number of diabetics treated with almost the same facility have gone up very significantly using the service design principles. And some of the examples are shown here. They start with awareness creation among patients. So they start to eliminate the need to visit the hospital. And when they, through the various outreach activities they have and these awareness spreading sessions, in many cases when the customer arrives for the treatment, the customer has already come prepared with foreknowledge. So there is an active involvement of the customers through discussions and various kinds of demonstrations in the pre-treatment stage. And then the treatment happens, and then here is their description of the new service model where the customers play a very significant part and industrial engineering principles are gainfully employed. So please do search for information on Aravind Eye Care and their path-breaking new service design methodologies, and share your understanding and share your comments on the forum, and see how this critical part that we have discussed before of managing supply and demand dynamically can be used for a new healthcare service, critical service gainfully. So Aravind Eye Care is a live case for you to study and discuss in the forum and give your inputs that how the new service has been created, what are the features, what are the challenges they have met, and how those learnings can be deployed in other services. Thank you.